This is Paddock 43, the podcast, your weekly rundown giving you all things F1 from both on and off the track.
From races, trades, rumours, the lifestyle, and all the things that come with the F1 world.
We are Amy, Elle, and Pat. Let's get into it.
This episode of Paddock 43 is proudly brought to you by This Is a Studio at 693 High Street, Paran.
We've been here since day one, recording, filming, laughing, and eating all their lollies. And very apologetic about the lolly jar if you do come in here looking for some, but we wouldn't have it any other way because this is our home. This is our family of Paddock 43.
So if you're looking for somewhere to edit or record your podcast or any studio needs, This Is a Studio is your place.
There's no time like the present to get it off the ground. All right, back to the episode.
We're back.
Season 2, episode 2. It's got to be a good number. Good feels?
We
good
like the number
numbers?
2. I like the number 2.
Really? Favorite number?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, mine's 22. 22. That works. We'll go with
22 kind
It's
of works.
lucky. It's a lucky number.
It's got a good synergy to it. So if you can't already tell, Amy is, where are you, Amy?
She's sick.
that. I'm reporting from my lounge study spare room. I don't know what this room is, but I went on a cruise and I got sick. So
Those things are cesspools
I'm
for
here.
sickness.
I swear I've never not heard of someone going on a cruise and not getting sick. So yeah, well, I mean, I hate to say it, but it was a cruise. Surely you knew you were going to get sick. Now she's frozen.
Can you hear us? You're pulling a turtle face.
I don't know
She's
what-
back. This is just the joy of virtual recording.
Yeah.
All right.
Nope.
Anyway, back to it.
Back to-
So our gal's sick. We're doing a semi-virtual record. Elle and I are in the studio.
We're in the studio. We saw each other last night as well.
We did.
We thought we would be funny and make a video.
Yes.
And it's very questionable if we are funny or if we're delusional. And I
Yeah.
think it might be the latter, to be honest.
It is funny.
I think it came out a lot better than expected. But basically, Elle and I decided to wander down to the track.
To the Albert Park circuit.
Albert Park Circuit, aka the track, our Melbourne track, and just get some content, get some behind the scenes whilst they set up. You know, we can still be on the actual track at this point. So we took advantage.
And you know what? There were so many other people down there. We couldn't believe how many people were there.
Oh my
just taking
gosh.
photos of different things. We took photos of people that were
They took photos of us.
yeah, and then they asked for a photo with us. They had no idea who we were. They were just, they were Italian and Pat was vibing with them and I was just standing there like a sore thumb being like, I wish I could speak Italian.
Well, initially they were like, can we have a photo with you because you're a grid girl or something
Yeah,
like
they
that.
asked me if I was a grid girl.
Yeah.
They were like, are you a grid girl? Can we take a photo? And I was like,
Oh my God. That's so
Yeah.
funny.
It was,
Pat was even giving these guys restaurant tips. They
Yeah.
were just visiting Melbourne.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
She
I
was
was
telling
like,
them where to go in Oakley.
I was like, go down to Oakley and get some Greek food.
So,
Were they staying for the Grand Prix?
no, they're just
No.
visiting their cousin.
They were here for 20 days.
Anyway, shout out to them. If they're here, if they're listening.
Shout out if they're listening.
But
New
it
friend.
is awesome to see so many people already down at the Melbourne Grand Prix. It's 4 weeks away and the track is probably
It's already vibing.
half built, 3/4 built.
Yeah.
I'd say 3/4.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal structures that they put up, especially when you see it empty. So if you are in Melbourne, definitely go down.
It's a good time to see it and kind of get a feel and, you can
It is very exciting
at
as
40
well.
k's an hour do a nice little zoom around the track and pretend that you're Carlos Sainz
And make
or
sure it
something.
is 40 kilometres an hour because there are speed cameras everywhere.
And there's
around there at the
police
moment.
everywhere
Yeah.
and there's bollards everywhere and there's also ducks.
Yep.
You don't want to.
And
Don't-
there's swans as well,
There's
aren't there?
swans,
Yeah.
there's galahs, there's cockatoos, there's all of the above.
And there's cyclists.
Yeah.
Don't forget the cyclists.
Don't forget the cyclists or Bottas will come after you.
Yeah, literally.
But
My
we were
partner
saying-
is one of those cyclists on the track. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were saying maybe we'll get back down next week and we'll have Amy with us and we'll do a little
We'll do a track
corner
review.
by corner. Yeah, we'll do a proper track review. This was more of a behind the scenes
of
of
what we thought was
of what we thought was behind the scenes for what we could see. But we'll do an actual
So if you
rundown.
are listening right now, full permission to quickly pause, go to our TikTok or Instagram, have a look at this video, make sure that you like it, and comment on it. And if
Share
you comment a star, then we know you've watched it and you support us, but you also think it is cringe. So that's the little secret code here. So
Yeah.
anyway, give you time to pause. Now
And
you're
do
back.
your thing.
All right, you're back. And here we are. So let's touch on news.
Or, yeah, news. What's been going on since we last spoke?
Well, Christian Horner's investigation is allegedly closed.
Isn't it funny, though, how it's allegedly closed, but it's still so secretive?
Yeah, there's surely someone's been paid off.
Oh, 100%.
Do you think?
That's all
Yeah.
I can think of, except surely Ford would want to know what that it has involved in the investigation, because they came out and said they're a family company. If this is what it's allegedly saying, that it is inappropriate
Yeah.
behavior, then they're going to pull out. And that's, what is it, $365 million partnership.
Yeah.
And then as well, I think if we see Ford pull out, we'll see so many other Rebel sponsors pull out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because they'll have to show
So it's
example.
like huge domino effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I think coming back to it, it makes more sense to just get rid of Christian Horner, because they're sort of setting an example and like
They
putting
really are
a
setting an
standard
example.
of like, we won't accept this, because they know that they'll lose so many of their partnerships if that isn't the case, if they don't get rid of him.
I think they completely set a standard here if they're also not disclosing what it is, whilst there was so much media drama around it.
So much. But
I
it's
think
like,
they have a duty to the community, the fan base, and the workers to let them know, as well as the sponsors.
100%.
They are a dominating team that spends millions of dollars.
The dominating team.
Yeah, the dominating team, sorry. Earns billions of dollars, and they have a responsibility to set an example.
Yeah.
They are influencers in their own right in what they do.
Sure.
Not like the social media influencers, like the legitimate, like, we run the world influencers.
Yeah.
The ones that actually have an impact.
Yes.
Ones that actually have an impact.
They're not just trying to do Greenpeace. Well,
I honestly thought that, I thought that we would see Christian Horner lose his job before Bahrain GP. Okay, granted, it's a few days away, so something might happen before then. But he's already there.
He's already there. Nothing's going to
So-
happen.
Yeah.
And I also reckon, but then it goes back to the thing, I don't think F1 would want to stir up any drama before the race and have anything taken away from their first race of the season. But then also, then they're hiding something as well.
Yeah.
I keep seeing so many articles where they're stating like it's going to come out like Tuesday or Wednesday. And I'm just like, I highly doubt, they're going to announce this before the first race of the season.
Or
I
maybe
think
they
they'll
will.
wait.
Maybe they
I
will.
reckon. I think if it's something to do with the sexual
Nature.
misconduct,
Yeah.
then actually I don't know. Then I think they might just do it if it's.
There are
That's
so many. I mean, for example, say this was something to do with like sexual misconduct. We don't know what it is, allegedly harassment or whatever. It could be anything. There are so many workplace agreements out there that when that happens, someone will get paid off as compensation. And it's usually sort of like for mental health and set you up in a new job and damages, costs and everything. And then there's NDAs signed as well to never speak about it. But I think the damage has already been done if this is true. You don't want that rumor going around.
No.
And Netflix did him a dirty
They did, and I love it.
by having that scene of Santa going, "Has Daddy been good this year?" And
was-
his face just going, "Ugh."
I just feel like
I-
there were so
I-
many nuggets that Netflix threw in right at the end, because even when it did that sort of preview of like what's to come in the season, and the same thing as well with Lewis Hamilton, where they're like putting this massive emphasis on the fact that his contract's almost out. I feel like Netflix creates the show, and then in this winter break they just do that's when they work their real magic.
Oh yeah, they redacted so many edits. But we'll get into Drive to Survive later.
They have their first edit and they just sit there and wait for drama and drop. And they're like,
Yeah.
actually, maybe let's tweak this a
Yeah.
little bit and drop this bit.
Literally.
But we'll touch on Drive to Survive season 6 in a little bit. 'Cause
Yes.
I know we've got plenty of other things to discuss.
Lots to get through, and one big thing that's come out, driver salaries,
Oh yeah. I mean, this is just their base salaries as well.
not including sponsorships.
Or
Is
wins.
it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Because
just,
normally the figures that come out, it's like their base salary along with like sponsorships.
no, this is
Anything else
just
tied
their
into it.
good old base.
Just their contract.
That's surprising because they're not supposed to disclose their like base salary.
I think it's not something that they do every year.
Oh, I thought they were just estimates.
I think they would be estimates because they're all round numbers.
Yeah, because I remember when I was doing some research on it, the ones that I found was similar to these, and then it said it's their bonuses and race. I don't know.
Yeah, this says this does not include contracts with personal sponsors or performance bonuses from the teams.
So it could be like team sponsors as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff in.
So who do we have first? Who do we have first? Of course, none other than Mr. Max Verstappen coming in at $55 million.
Just a casual $55 million. Hey, look,
this is USD as well.
I know, which is just crazy. Lewis Hamilton obviously in second at 45. And then everyone else sort of, I mean, Charles has a fair.
Yeah, 34 million.
Yeah. But then everyone else just drops off. I mean, no one's competing with Logan Sargent.
I'm surprised Lando. So Lando's actually on 20 million and then George Russell is on 18 million. I would have thought that George Russell, I mean, it's a $2 million difference. It's not a lot, but I would have thought that they'd be on. I actually would have thought maybe George Russell would have been on more than Lando.
I was surprised about Yuki. I thought he would have been slightly higher than a salary of $1 million. I mean, he is only contracted for 1 year as well. That's probably the difference there. But it is good to see our Aussie man, Oscar Piastri. He's boosted up to a nice, cool $6 million for his salary from a $1 million cap that he had last year. I think it was last year, was $1 million. So go, Oscar.
Yeah.
That would be such a nice little jump. Imagine just having $1 million now. You get $6 million.
Oh, would love a 600% increase in the salary. Thank you.
They all live in Monaco and don't pay taxes, so that's another bonus.
So we should move to
majority
Monaco.
of them anyway. Yeah,
yeah. But we've all got $500,000 just to secure the
the entry fee.
citizenship.
That you can't actually touch. It has to sit there the entire time.
Yeah. Do you know what I find the saddest, and I'm sure you guys have noticed, is the salary difference between Checo and Max Verstappen. So Checo's on 14 million.
Yeah.
It is surprising, especially
it's
because,
that big of a...
I mean, so much of probably what I'm going to say today is going to refer back to Drive to Survive because I did binge it and I guess, we watched the season in live time, but then you see behind the conversations, but they left out a million things. But Checo did, even though we spoke so much last year about him and being like, oh, he's not performing, he actually did. I take it back.
Yeah.
Anything that I said, you guys were quite supportive of him. Like, he did perform. He was always on the podium. He just wasn't beating Max because Max is just Max.
Literally.
It's because Max is just so good, so everyone was comparing him to Max's performance. But if you compared him to anyone else on the grid, he was miles ahead.
Yeah.
And when you put into perspective, like, just looking at this salary and seeing like how he did perform in the grand scheme of things in comparison to Max Verstappen. Obviously he had some terrible, terrible, terrible weekends last year, but I think he deserves more than 14 million, and it's really sad, especially for Checo, to think my teammate is earning triple the amount of what I'm on.
Oh dear. Anyway, it's interesting to have that out there, and I think it also puts a lot of things in perspective of number one drivers and teams as well, instead of where things are going.
I think we should actually post this on our let's put this on our socials so everyone can go and have a look, because it's all well and good to listen to it, but I think having a look at it and really
digesting it
and getting your take. We'd like to know what people's takes are on this.
You'll also see how many contracts are up this year as well, which is really interesting. So it's got the contract extensions. So we'll put that up live on the social. So you can also go look at that, which would be right next to the video that you just watched of us on the track, which you would have loved, and put that little star next to it anyway. Any other news? What's been happening? I mean, Charlotte Tilbury, F1 Academy.
I think that was possibly the best news of the year, I reckon. I loved it. It's going to change the landscape for brands coming into like F1 and F1 Academy, especially like beauty brands.
Yeah, it was huge.
And I really hope Tarte has learnt a lot.
Yeah.
From there.
From the Tarte influencer trips last year.
Yeah.
I think it was an excellent brand partnership.
I think Charlotte Tilbury is already dominating, and then to see that, she's just completely opened up the brand to a whole new
audience.
fanship.
Yeah.
Whole new audience, exactly.
And I also love that it made like the old crusty men fans like angry.
Yeah.
Like it gave them
Oh my
another
God.
reason. But then also it took the pressure off anyone that is a Drive to Survive fan
Yeah.
that came into the sport, because
Oh, that
it just opens it up. It makes it a fair game for everyone now. Like everyone can be involved in this sport, no
I mean,
matter what
yeah.
brings you into it.
I think like the Drive to Survive fans and this partnership go hand in hand, and I'm so here for it.
Yeah, it's going to bring so much more attention to F1 Academy as well, because I know so many people
Yes.
wouldn't know what it is.
Literally.
But now that it has been plastered all over the news, all over Instagram, all over TikTok, everyone's going to be like, wait, what's F1 Academy? And then
Yeah.
it'll open up the audience for F1 Academy as well.
yeah.
Because it is specific to that this is an F1 Academy partnership, but obviously that's extension of F1. But a lot of people just think it's an F1 partnership.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like you just said, like great education about
And-
the academy.
And I think the thing as well is Charlotte Tilbury, I mean, all of us collectively, we all love the brand. I actually think they can do no wrong. Every one of their products is amazing. They're already a huge brand with a huge, almost cult following. So this has just opened the door for an incredible crossover.
Mm-hmm.
I need more makeup. Can we like?
Charlotte Tilbury.
Charlotte Tilbury, can you partner with
Yeah.
us?
Does anyone out there have like a contact with Charlotte Tilbury? I'd love some new makeup, especially
Honestly.
for the OzGP. We've got that
OzGP.
many events coming up.
But F1 Academy, some other liveries that we saw as well. So I'm not sure if you guys saw the Puma Motorsport. So they've brought out a car with F1 Academy. Looks great. Not as good as Charlotte Tilbury, but still great. And then the other day, Tommy Hilfiger cross F1 Academy. Fantastic. They've signed Nerea Marti, a Spanish driver. Car looks phenomenal.
Which one's your favorite?
I actually think my favorite's the Tommy Hilfiger car. But
Oh?
yeah, I think it's just like classic and beautiful. It's like the Tommy Hilfiger colors. And I just love seeing all these brands like making their mark in that way. Because I don't think, I don't know, I feel like there's a bit more of an element of like creativity with F1 Academy, and that you can kind of like, what is it, like step across the boundaries? Is that it?
Yeah.
Push
Push the boundaries. We can push the boundaries. Whilst like F1, you know, the cars, because they have so many sponsors, it's like a completely different ball game.
Yeah.
That
They're
makes
so
sense.
limited. And then it's like
Yeah.
every tiny speck of space is going to cost
Yeah.
like X amount of money.
You know, we had higher
Is F-
expectations for Visa Cash App, Visa Cash App, Red Bull,
RB.
RB.
I do love their livery. I like that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
But
great.
we
It's a
remember when
blueberry.
we
It's
were
great.
like,
It
oh,
looks good.
Hugo Boss, it's going to be an incredible car. Like, imagine how it's going to look. And then it didn't.
Yeah. Well, it's a great color. They've done a great color, but it's, you know, about as far as it goes with the
Yes.
name. Did you have any news, Amy, before we dive deep into testing?
I mean, I actually just saw something just then, which I found quite interesting. Oh no, where'd it go? So motorsport.com just reported that Lewis Hamilton didn't speak to anybody about his
Oh.
move. Didn't even tell his parents until the day it was announced.
What?
I saw this. Yeah.
But he's so close to his
So
dad.
He wanted to make it a situation that it was a purely decision for himself, and that
Yeah.
he didn't have to
Okay.
discuss it with anyone.
Did
and
he
wasn't
discuss it with
influenced.
Roscoe at least?
I mean, who doesn't?
Roscoe
discuss
would have been
their-
on the call.
Yeah, who doesn't discuss their deepest, darkest secrets with their dogs and their pets? Like, surely you go up to them and be like, "Don't tell
Roscoe,
anyone.
don't say anything.
Don't say anything." But I'm thinking
And
of
then
leaving Mercedes.
And then you suddenly see Roscoe like skateboarding to the Ferrari like the Ferrari tents. Like, Roscoe, what are you doing?
Yeah.
with a red flag on the back.
Oh my God, poor Roscoe is going to get so confused.
Yeah, yeah. So Lewis didn't want anyone to know because he wanted to make a decision himself, which I think is fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised he
Absolutely.
I'm surprised he didn't tell his parents at least.
I mean, sometimes as well, I find like when you're in sports, it's so like you tell your parents everything, but then obviously everyone respects their parents' opinions. And then especially in sports, it's like, a whole nother level. And then you're like, wait, is this the right decision? Like, should I be doing this?
But I feel like, especially like, Lewis has spoken about the relationship with his dad and their relationship with from when he was younger karting and how his dad played such a massive role in that. So I'm surprised he didn't tell his dad.
Do you think maybe his dad would have said that it's the wrong decision?
Potentially.
And that's probably why, because he wanted to make a decision himself.
Yeah.
He wanted to go with a gut feeling. But hey, it's here. And he also said in that interview as well, I think it was with the BBC that it was on, that he still is going to love Mercedes like he loves McLaren. He's like, I still follow everything that they do. I love everything that they do. They are my family.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
I just needed a new opportunity. And he said it wasn't even like he had to think about it for a while. It was a split-second decision. He knew right away.
I mean, I think we all thought about it as well, so.
But it's going to be like so interesting to watch throughout this season and how Mercedes keep a lot from him. Like he'll get, excluded from some like team meetings, or like he won't be told about new upgrades, so he can't take any of this information.
Did you see him taking the photos?
Which photos?
No.
He's there's all these photos going around of him in the Mercedes garages, and he's like, camera out. He's like, snap, snap, snap.
Oh dear.
Snap.
Lewis, you sneaky man.
Yeah.
Cheeky.
All these memes have now come out about it, because it's like when Toto Wolff went to go inspect the other cars. Did you all that footage of him like walking behind, being like, It's all happening.
We haven't officially started the season, but I guess we kind of have, because it was Bahrain preseason testing last week.
And if it's anything to go by Alonso's comments, where he said 19 of us realised that we are not winning any races or the championship this year.
Especially after you hear news that Max's car was running at a low engine mode throughout testing. And then his C3 stint was a 137.0 to a 137.07 consistently for like X amount of runs.
It's just
which is kind of terrifying. Like, how can someone be so precise in such an unpredictable sport?
He said something like, wasn't it, this car does everything I want it to do? He complained about his shoes or something. Like, that was his only complaint.
It's an issue when the biggest problem is his shoe. And by issue, as in it's going to be an issue for us all season. But before we kind of get into as well,
issue for everyone,
the nitty gritty, I know, because I had a couple of people asking me, why are the cars painted? Why do the cars have grates on them? So we're going to explain that, because that's what we do here. So the paint on the cars, it kind of looks like they've sort of been just slapped with like a weird paint job or like a masking tape.
And the cars don't always look like this throughout the whole season. It's just for testing, so we should clarify it. Exclusively for testing.
Just for testing, because a lot of people were saying like, what's going on? Why do the cars look like shit? So the reason what they do is that they actually paint parts of the car, because it's a way for them to check the airflow. So basically what they do is they paint the car, they drive, they do their testing, and then the teams then analyze at what points, and they take pictures at what points the paint looks before and after. And then that way they can read how the airflow has hit different parts of the car and how it essentially affects the car and makes it go faster or slower. Fascinating. And then the grates, the weird grates that they put around them. So they're aerodynamic rakes. So they hold up probes which stick out in the air, and then they read and register airflow as well. So they sort of work out what the air is doing and paint a picture of what it does, and it's sort of something that they can't test in the wind tunnels.
It's quite funny how it just looks like scaffolding, and then each team's, I'm just going to call it scaffolding.
Sometimes it's like hanging off.
It looks so different. Like, it looks so different for each team. Like, I remember I looked at, I think it was Ferraris, and they kind of looked like a honeycomb.
Yeah.
And then others looked like a more formed structure, but then you sort of look at other cars and they sort of place them on certain parts of the car where they want to get that wind data. So sometimes it's like hidden and you can't really see it, but then you saw on the coverage, they go past and you're like, oh, there's one back there too.
Yeah.
So the first time I ever saw that stuff, I thought it was rubbish. Like I
What's
thought,
on the car?
Yeah, you know, like when you get a like 6-pack of cans and it comes with like the rings around it that they say don't put in the ocean because the turtles will like get their head stuck in it. I thought it was a bunch of them. I was like, oh my God, they've collected so much
They've
rubbish.
collected so much rubbish.
F1 cars are now garbage trucks.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought that's what had happened when I first saw it. And I remember being so confused. I was like, what is this? What's going on? Anyway,
Yeah.
thanks for the description, Pat.
Yeah. But I think, it's the first time that the teams can actually feel the cars, check the cars. That isn't a theoretical simulation, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And none of like, also, if you are new to testing, none of it goes towards points or anything like that for the season as well. Some people think they're like, oh, it doesn't. And you're like, no. But I mean, they practically are racing each other because we get, like we said, the dominance of the Red Bull was just, I mean, the stats that Amy just read out are enough to just be like, okay, we know what's happening this season.
As well, I think going back quickly on the Floviz paint, I was listening to the Sky F1 podcast and Bernie was saying that some of them use a clear paint that you can see under real light. So some of them would have been sneaky and they had it on. You wouldn't know they had it on.
Cheeky.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't want other people to see how quickly things are drying.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what Lewis was taking photos of. I have to go inspect those photos now of him taking photos and see what he's actually taking photos of.
Yeah. Adjust a few settings on his camera and he's like, oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah.
Well, it was, I mean, my eyes were on McLaren.
Well,
but
did you say much?
I didn't say much. My eyes, were on McLaren, and obviously they didn't really perform well. And Lando was being quite down in the dumps about it afterwards. And then someone interviewed Danny, and he was like, "Lando's always sad. He's just negative." But you know what? He tells it how it is. So if he is negative, it's probably shit. But then have you seen? So Lando's. This is like completely like off the grid. This is like off grid full on.
Yeah.
Lando's Instagram bio used to be, I drive fast cars for McLaren, fast F1 cars for McLaren.
Yep.
Now it's just I drive for McLaren or something like that. So he's removed the fast.
He's like,
last
The
24
most
hours.
like passive aggressive thing you could do.
Yeah.
Like,
How funny is that? He's actually just removed
But
this
as-
from his bio.
But as well, didn't McLaren show improvements from their track times from like last year and previous?
Improved track times, except last year's car that they tested was
much quicker.
awful.
Well, at least it's better.
No, they improved track times this year.
Oh, yeah.
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 So, because
They improved them this year. So
Yeah.
why did you have to be so negative?
yeah, I just think they were expecting more, but also I think when you're
everyone
seeing
was
Red Bull,
expecting more.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Ferrari said the exact same thing, and then, like I said before, Alonso was just like, "Oh well, that's the season done."
At
Like-
least Alonso was the honest one.
that's done.
Told us what everyone was thinking.
Yep. But apparently, the Haas and the Alpine were not there at all with
Well, the
pace.
Haas did the most laps, actually.
Well, I
Poor
think
Haas.
they needed to work out what was going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Jean,
And because
invest some money.
I know. And the McLaren had some issues with their fuel tank and their clutch. Eep.
Eep for everyone, I think.
It's so funny
Sometimes
'cause-
Oh, she's gone again.
they report on these things, but then I'm like, how much of it is actually true?
yeah.
Oh,
Because they
that's
could
like anything
reporting
going
on saying that they have issues, but they really might not have issues. Just like Max running in a low engine mode.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when Max reports the car is broken. This is shit. This is shit, and it's actually good. It's like this is all just like
Exactly.
a mind game. Yeah, 100%. It could be that.
It'll be so interesting to see what happens this weekend.
Yeah.
Dear.
This
I
weekend.
can't wait, though.
Oh, we
can't
got
wait.
so much to talk about with that.
Back to no sleep.
I know. I don't know if I'm actually mentally prepared for Monday mornings. Although the race is on Saturday, but 2 a.m. Sunday morning for us. I think it is. Which is
Oh my god, the fact
freaking
that my
early.
brain went, that's not hideous.
Yeah.
Really?
I feel like you can go to sleep, wake up around 2, watch the race, and then go back to sleep again.
I start work
Well, I
at 7:30 on a Monday.
Yeah.
I was
like,
about to say I can because
Yeah.
I don't have to go to a full-time job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 a.m.'s not working for me, unfortunately. That's
No.
just pushing it. That's get up early and watch it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Look, I think we also now, before we jump into what happened in Bahrain last year, and also what our predictions are, should we touch on Drive to Survive?
Yes, I think we do.
Yeah, so we'll just touch on, I guess, quickly of like episode 1 for Drive to Survive. And we'll make it super quick because so much has missed out. But pretty much it just focused on the story of Lance and him breaking his wrists and all of that sort of stuff. And Lawrence, his dad, being a concerned father first and foremost. Very
So
concerned.
I haven't watched it, but I have seen probably most of the clips that have any meaning to the episode on TikTok.
Oh, I think the only funny thing to really come out about it was Lando asking him if he can still wank. And I was like, this is like just the most weirdest comment for Netflix to keep in. And it just puts Lando in like this, like, you know, if as you watch the whole season, you'll see that they don't really put Lando in a very serious position.
No.
He just comes off as a partier kind of joker the whole time. And it's kind of a little bit unfortunate because you're like, oh, well, but here's fun.
But I must say the beginning of episode 1, you know, it's always good to see like what they've been doing on their break. You know, we saw a cute little game of paddle between Max and who else was there? George was there. Max was there.
And then we entered
Albon was there.
And then the glitz party the Aston Martin coming out and
like
all of that.
Mr. Stroll is arriving in T-minus 3 minutes.
Mr. Stroll does not need to wear a wristband, but
It's something
everyone
out
else.
of like a James Bond movie.
Literally.
Oh, yeah, this whole
He's like
clip.
arriving on a yacht.
Yeah. Yeah.
God.
It was so, yeah. Look, that's episode 1 is about Aston Martin and it definitely follows Lance breaking his wrists
Which it had kind of slipped my mind for a second that happened right at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, it did because I think it wasn't such a bad break as what Danny had. They obviously shared the same surgeon for that scenario when Danny broke his wrist later in the season at the Dutch Grand Prix. But Lance was able to make a comeback. He said it wasn't that painful. I mean, he was kind of just like, yeah, it is what it is. He said that his broken toe was the worst part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there was a clip of him with a few of the drivers and they were sort of asking like, oh, are you on medication? He's like, yeah, I'm on some medication, but, you know, it's kind of shit at night because it wears off. And then he'll like go and reach for something and be in pain. And then if you fast forward and I didn't realize like because I don't know if you remember how he initially wasn't even going to compete and it was sort of questionable about whether he was going to compete that weekend or if he wasn't. And then last minute he came in and was choppered in for the weekend and he ended up coming 6th that weekend, which is like pretty impressive, especially considering like if you're in that much pain. And because I think as well, especially for, you know, think about when you have pain medication, like that time that you had that pain medication, Elle, and you were basically here but not here. Like a lot of pain medication.
Can go back and see those clips.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah, like a lot of pain medication, they say you can't operate heavy machinery or you can't drive.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm pretty sure he's just on Panadol.
do you think?
Yeah, it'd just be paracetamol for sure.
But for that kind of pain as well, like for a broken bone and then
there'd be cortisone injections in there and then paracetamol.
Yeah. I feel like the only way he would have got through that would have been cortisone injections.
Yeah.
100%.
Like I take more medication for like stubbing my toe.
Yeah.
Like, give it to me.
I need more for a hangover.
But do you know what I do love about Drive to Survive? And you kind of forget about it is you just see all these like subtle digs that you don't normally see throughout the season or, you know, we maybe see every now and then. I've got a list of some digs that I saw that I liked.
Yeah. So episode 1 digs as well.
Episode 1 digs.
It's very specific.
Yeah.
Yep.
Zach Brown saying how he enjoys winter break because he doesn't have to see the dickheads he sees during racing season.
You'll also hear Zach Brown say that again, but specifically about Lawrence Stroll.
Oh, there we go.
Later in the season. So I think that one, now I've heard that again, is directed directly at Aston Martin and the flats in that episode.
There we go. I've got, this isn't really a dig, but just Alonso having a dig at England, being like, I don't know how you live in England. It's so cold.
Oh, yeah.
But you drive for Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Then there's a clip of, you know, before they get all their photos done, like their big group photos and their kind of big media day. And there's a clip of Charles Leclerc Lewis Hamilton and George Russell having a chat, and Charles like, "Oh, I hear that the Aston Martin's supposed to be quite quick," and George is like, "No, it's because they have Fernando driving for them now." Dig it, Lance Stroll.
It is true. Yep.
And then, you know, we did see Nick de Vries. I forgot about him for a second.
Poor Nick de Vries.
Poor Nick de Vries.
Oh, wait till his episode. Oh my God. Do I talk about his episode now or should we save it?
We'll save it.
Okay.
Save it.
We'll
I
save
have
it.
so much to say about that episode. Oh my God.
And another
There's
thing
a lot.
that I'd
Yep.
forgotten. Last year was the first year we got introduced to Bottas's mullet.
Yes. He said he was a man. He's a man now.
He's a man now. He's a
I
man
This
said
now.
it-
beautiful mullet right here.
hasn't
And he
left
says
us.
he's a
A
man.
man.
And now he's still a man.
Yeah.
And now he's bleached it.
Yes,
He's an Aussie man. He's an Aussie surfer man.
he is. He's an Aussie boy.
It's great.
It's 20 years of Bahrain.
Ah, happy 20th anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
If that was a wedding anniversary, what is that?
Silver?
Silver? No,
No,
China.
no, China.
China?
I don't know. Paper's the first one.
Paper's the first one. 10 years. Anyway.
What the hell are you talking about?
Don't worry. It's like a wedding
It's
thing.
like a wedding.
I don't know. I learned it off Modern
My
Family, to be
God.
entirely honest. Bahrain. Yes.
Bahrain this weekend.
Who won? Let's take a guess.
Who won this weekend?
No. Sorry,
Last
I
year.
can't
Oh,
remember.
last year we saw
well, it
Max
was Max
Verstappen.
win by what, 12 seconds or something like
Yeah.
that.
And then we had Perez and then we had Alonso.
Yep. We saw Charles retiring. We saw
Austin
Alonso.
Piastri retired as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Esteban Ocon and his 3 separate penalties.
Oh, that's right. Lando and his 6 pit stops.
Yeah.
It was not quite the start that anyone really wanted for the. But you kind of expect that the first race of the season.
Bit chaotic.
Kind of like blowing out all the cobwebs. Like
Yeah.
you have testing, but then once you actually go to compete, it's so
It's-
different to anything you've been doing for the whole of the off season.
We also saw Lewis coming out at that race last year in Bahrain, and that's when he started talking negatively about Mercedes.
And it was only day one.
And he was saying it's going backwards. It's done. He's not happy with the car.
Well, that was his decision made.
And then that was a tone that was set for the rest of the 2023 season.
yeah.
So yeah, Bahrain that's the wrap up. And this year, what are we thinking? What are your predictions?
Verstappen.
Really? Kidding.
Or do we do the same thing we did last season where we go from 2, 3, 4?
I reckon
But then as well, that's also setting us up for manifesting that Max is going to win.
True.
Race.
All right, let's do 1, 2, 3, and then we can rechange this next week if we have to. If we're like, nah, it's just too obvious. All right, Pat, I'm writing yours down because I want to revisit these next week. What are
Okay.
yours?
Verstappen,
Yep.
Checo,
Yep.
Charles.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amy,
Mhm.
who are you predicting?
Oh, damn, I don't want to do Max, but I kind of want to.
What does, you know, as in, you know, it's what we want, but then this is what we actually will see.
Yeah, very true.
I think we've got to do this is what we'll say.
Yeah.
Because we always did what we want last year and it was just
Yeah.
landed us in hot water every time.
Yeah. Okay. I think we will see. Yeah, Max. I'm gonna go with Lewis
Oh, yeah.
and Checo.
Nice. All right. We're all kind of on the same page. I'm going to go Max, Lewis, Oscar.
Oscar.
Mm.
I was gonna say Lando, but then after the way he was talking,
Nope.
I don't think he has a podium in him just yet.
That negative energy out.
Yeah.
Positive energy out. All right. I think they're good predictions. So we'll come back next week and see how they're going. And who's getting up to 2 a.m.? Who's getting up?
I will get up early before work. I will not get up at 2 a.m.
Well,
I'll pull an L. I'll get a stationary bike and I'll do a 5:30 wake up and I'll watch it before
I was actually
work.
looking at the stationary bike and Tom's been hogging it because obviously he can't ride a normal
Oh,
bike at the
true.
moment because he's had a cycling accident. So I don't know what I'm going to do Monday mornings because
Push him off.
You're just gonna have to push him off.
Put a
it so he can
graze
have
on the other side of him.
inside cycling accident.
dislocate his other shoulder. Tom, I hope you're not listening to this.
I'm sorry. Like I do like you. I promise.
All right.
Before we finish up, We should quickly mention something that we announced on our.
Oh yes, it's official now. We
It's
can actually
official.
talk
We can
about
talk
it.
about it. Just a cute little update that I am pregnant. If you haven't seen on our
Yay!
socials,
Ooh.
woo!
And we have a gender reveal video. Did you want
Oh,
to put that out there?
We
Oh,
should.
yeah.
Yeah.
We should do that.
All right.
We filmed that at
And just-
Christmas.
And just a reminder to all our listeners, we have known this since the Mexican Grand Prix last
Yeah.
year. Do you know how
Yes.
hard that has been?
We've been keeping Pat's dirty little secret.
Dirty little secret.
So yeah, we're gonna have a Paddock 43 baby in the house.
Yes. So in terms of what it means, doesn't really change much for you guys. Baby's due in June. I'll probably need to take a few weeks off because I will be a zombie. But then I'll just be back. You know, the good thing about this is, like, obviously, you know, we've got Elle virtually at the moment. And last year I did
Amy's virtual. I'm here.
Amy. That's baby brain.
Yeah, we'll blame that on baby rain.
We've got Amy here virtually. You know, I did a bunch of episodes virtually last year. Elle, you'll be away this year as well.
Yep.
I'll be away later on in the year. So
I think there'll be a point where I'll be in the studio by myself.
maybe.
And you two will be out separately.
Yeah.
Like, cool, all my friends.
Yeah. You're just talking to yourself, like.
Yeah, basically.
But the good thing is, like, I can go on mat leave from work, but I don't have to go on mat leave from the podcast until the baby comes, probably. I could literally be the size of a house from my room
There you go.
doing the podcast. Like, the baby's coming.
So exciting.
Yes.
So
We're
exciting.
recording and you go into labor.
Well, it'd be a good distraction.
It'd be great. Someone went to Taylor Swift in labour. So,
Literally.
you know, anything's
Well done.
possible. Anything's possible. All right. We'll catch you guys next week. And please don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you are enjoying the podcast.
And if you have any recos for us or anything you want to hear, anything you don't want to hear, anything to bring to the table, tell us.
We'd love to hear it.
And we can't
Do you
wait
want
for next week's
that?
episode because we're like, I feel like this feels like we're officially back, you know,
Yeah.
actually talking about races.
Oh, and
Yeah.
we're going to put a bingo card out, by the way.
Yes.
We're going to make our bingo card for the 2023 season public.
2024.
20, ooh, what year are we in? Sorry.
You don't have baby brain, so.
There is no excuse for that.
No.
All right. Obviously tired. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.